It's 1 week until the official start of RAGBRAI, and here in Middle Tennessee I'm out doing a test and shakedown ride of my bicycle that I will be riding. I like to do RAGBRAI a little bit differently. I do it as what we call bagging style. That's where I will carry all my stuff across the state. So I'll show you a little bit about my bike. It is a Kent Erickson. Kent Erickson started Moots, and then there was a little bit of a falling out, and he went out on his own, started making bikes under his own name. He also took with him Brad Bingham, who was their master welder at Moots. So this bicycle is more than likely has been welded by Brad Bingham. Bingham now actually makes bikes under his own name, under the name of Bingham Bikes. I got this bike in approximately 2016, and it has a 2x drivetrain setup with a 3046 crank set in the front, and it uses SRAM Y-Fly, which, if you're familiar with SRAM, which means that I can now run an 11x32 cassette. That will give me plenty of gearing to go across RAGBRAI, and on the rest of the tour, where a friend of mine, Bill Glass, and I will be riding back home from Iowa. So some of the things I've done to this bicycle: the front fork is made by independent fabrication. It's actually steel. We could not find a carbon fiber fork, which would really allow for the use of lowrider racks to carry a little bit of weight. I'm using a tubeless front rack with Sea to Summit dry bags. These are the 8 liters. And to mount those, Trek made some little neat dry bag holders that I think they sold on their Trek 920. So I'm using those. So it's extremely lightweight setup in the front. I think I have about 4 pounds of weight in each front bag. I'm using a Schmidt Son 28 generator hub in the front, and I have a wire that will go up the fork, and it comes out to a little sine wave USB port, and from there I have a little cable that goes in my handlebar bag, and I will be charging a cash battery on the ride. This is how I keep all my electronics charged up. Sometimes I actually will use a Schmidt Edelux 2 Lite, but for this one I've just gone with one of those cheap Night Rider setups, so that will work just fine. Continuing back, I do have a 3rd water bottle cage. I do like to drink a lot. I've got an Ovega Negra top tube bag for snacks. This is where I keep my GoPro. My first time actually using a Ortlieb bag. We'll see how that goes. Not use a lot of Ortlieb stuff, so that should be interesting. In the back, I'm also using some Ortlieb gravel packs. I think they are the 13 liters each. I have my chair, and then I have my ubiquitous Arkel trunk bag, which I've taken on all my trips. For fenders, I'm using Velo Orange hammered aluminum fenders. Once you go to and use aluminum fenders, you'll probably never use anything else. They are quite difficult to set up and put on, but once they're on, you just forget about them, and they're reliable, safe, and they actually look pretty good. To keep the rain out, I've actually put a couple inner tubes around the seat post here. And you really want to keep rain out of your bike. Even though it's titanium, you really don't have to worry about that a lot, but I thought it was just a neat little touch. And probably one of the most important things I always take on every bike tour is my lucky duck. Always a little sideways. I found this little guy in 2007 on the road, and he's gone on all my trips. I never really gave him a name, but he's always been out front. On this bike I am using V-brakes. That's the way its setup came, because I wanted to be able to run a little bit wider tires. Yes, it's an older bike. I do not have disc brakes. I've never had a problem being stopped with those in my entire life. Moving around to the back of the bicycle, for visibility, I use a Dinoti, D-I-N-O-T-T-E light. I highly recommend this. They're extremely bright. Alright, so that's my RAGBRAI setup for RAGBRAI 2023. Should be a lot of fun. I look forward, maybe I'll see you on the road. If you see me, say hey.